to the Theme Park Duo podcast. Grab your severed heart monster friends and hop in line as we take you on a creepy tour of some of the best haunts around. Now, here are your scary hosts, Nikki and Gabriel.
Hello everyone and welcome to our spooky special episode, kicking off our Halloween season with an episode all about Six Flags Fright Fest. I'm Gabe, super excited. I'm one of your hosts, Nikki.
And I'm your other eager host, Gabe. And welcome to the Theme Park Duo podcast. It's going to be fantastic. We're going to be having some extra, as Nikki said, extra spooky episodes coming up here that are all Halloween themed. We're going to be talking about some of the major theme parks and their Halloween events, as well as some other things that are super fun and that are on our calendar, on our radar.
Our very busy calendar.
Yes, extremely. But nonetheless, it is very worth it to hit all of these things. And specifically in today's episode, we're going to be talking about Six Flags Magic Mountain Fright Fest. So Six Flags Magic Mountain is over in Valencia, California, part of the Six Flags chain, and is known to be the thrill capital of the world because of its world-class roller coasters.
Yep, and we have a few favorites over there.
Oh, Twisted Colossus is hands down
yes.
one of the best things over there.
I like Full Throttle. It's a fun ride.
I have yet to be able to go on that.
My favorite's Goliath. That was the first roller coaster I ever went on.
Your dad forced you on that, right?
Yes.
Tears and all?
Yeah. I didn't cry, I don't think.
You didn't cry?
No, but I whined a lot. I was probably very not pleasant.
How young were you? Why are you drinking wine?
I whined.
Oh, I thought you meant like a wined and dined thing.
No, you don't do that in line for Goliath. That's so awkward. You're just like, Butler, more wine. You bring a butler. Like you bring a
you
butler.
Said Butler, more wine.
Butler.
I could not understand.
Butler, more wine. You just bring a butler in line with you.
Well,
a wine butler.
Well, with our most recent visit, we weren't saying Butler, more wine. We were saying evil monster butler, go away.
Yes.
So that happened a lot more often in this trip than anything else. But first off, we would like to say thanks to the whole Six Flags team for having us out. It was an absolute blast hitting up all these different mazes and scare zones and kind of looking at the entertainment. And in today's episode, that's what we're going to be covering. We're going to be covering the event as a whole.
Yep.
And let's just straight up jump into this now and just start going through it because there's quite a bit. Six Flags is a rather large park, and also, as its name implies, there is a gigantic mountain in the middle of it, so you have to walk up that as well.
That's the scariest part of the whole thing.
Scariest part of Fright Fest.
Yeah.
Walking uphill.
Yeah.
It is like the Stairmaster from hell.
It's awful. And then when Gabe says, "Oh, hey, I want to get more pictures of the monsters at the top."
On Exile Hill.
Yeah.
You looked at me like you wanted to kill me. Like you were really not happy about that. But of course, for the blog's sake, you said yes.
Yes, we did it.
So we went back up and got more photos. And it ended up being great because we got great photos.
Yeah.
And if you haven't seen those yet, make sure to head over to themeparkduo.com and check out some of the photos we got from the event.
Do it.
Yeah. You looked at me like you wanted to say something really important.
I just didn't know what to say.
If you guys haven't realized a theme in our shows, Nikki says a lot with her looks. And you can't translate that over a podcast or a blog. So I have to explain what her looks are. She has many looks. She's like Zoolander.
All that you guys hear, the listeners, is a long pause and then a short little statement.
I'm surprised they don't hear your eyes roll, because that's really loud. Just saying. But let's just jump into this. So the first few things that Six Flags has that are a little bit different than most events is the fact that the park never really closes for the event. It just stays open and it transforms into Fright Fest, which is kind of cool.
I like it. It saves them a lot of trouble kicking everyone out. They just put an announcement over the intercom system saying, "Warning, it's gonna get scary. Leave now if you don't want that," so.
Pretty much.
Yes, it's easier for them. They don't have to boot everyone out. They just charge for a wristband for the mazes. I mean, I think it's pretty cool.
No, it's great, and it's also really good value, too, especially if you don't have a ton of money to be spending, and if you already are at the park for some reason or another, you could just experience the scare zones for free for all of that, which is a pretty great price point for just scare zones. But that's also like part of a much larger conversation of whether or not this should be a separately ticketed event, which we can cover at the end. But yeah, so since it doesn't really ever close, they have a special experience called The Surge. The gates can't hold back the monsters during Fright Fest. Witness the unruly break free every night at 7 p.m. near Suicide Squad, the Six Flags Fright Fest experience. So this is essentially the area where all of the monsters from the entire park enter the park. And they make it a really big deal, and I really thought it was cool. It really got me hyped.
Yeah, it was super fun.
And especially just seeing the kind of, like, a lot of the time when you're walking around a park and you're kind of seeing the different scare zones, it's not easy to put characters side by side because you kind of forget what they look like. And if they're from two different scare zones, you have to remember or look at a photo. Yeah. In this case, they're right next to each other the entire time. So you could see the artistic differences between somebody from, you know, the Nightmare scare zone to somebody who's in the Six Flags scare zone to whoever is in the Damned in Disguise scare zone, which was fun. And from an artistic standpoint, it's really nice to see the different work that goes into it.
Yeah, I thought it was really fun, and you kind of see what you're getting yourself into if you wait around to watch The Surge.
Pretty much. I mean, I never felt like the presentation of it was supposed to be scary as much as it was
fun.
Get excited, look at this, because the music wasn't scary. It was like excited.
Yeah.
It was supposed to get you so pumped. And guess what? It worked. It worked really well. And it's very different than most other events like Halloween Horror Nights where they have like an intro that the monsters run at you. In this case, it's passive in a way, where you're watching everybody come out. But I also think that that's a little bit more foreboding than just monsters doing a show then coming at you.
Yeah.
I feel like it's like, oh my god, I'm going to have to go face that later. That's not fun.
It kind of makes you question, like, oh, now I'm going towards them. Now I'm chasing after them. I'm going into their scare zones. What am I doing?
Exactly. Like, it's your own free will to go see them, which I kind of like. I mean, people may differ, but in my opinion, I think that's kind of cool. Some of the other stuff that they have is traveling scare squads. So crazed, mischievous characters run amok throughout the park. There's nowhere to hide. I think we ran into some of these characters when we were walking towards Goliath. One of the characters was like a raven, and he kept like cawing at us as we walked by. That was one guy, and then there was another one that looked like a werewolf or something.
Oh, and those two...
We walked only by them like once.
The one by Full Throttle, do you remember? It was like a lady.
A lady by Full Throttle?
Yeah. Oh, maybe you weren't with me when she was talking to me. She was being real creepy. But
well, that's her job.
No, but I like this concept. I think they need more of them to make it effective.
I think they need more of them, but also in separate groups.
Separate, yeah.
So that they're at least like working in a clockwise motion, so you at least run into them once.
Yeah.
Throughout the night, if not more.
Because we were there all night, and I didn't remember running to any until Gabe, reminded me. So I think we only had 2 very small encounters.
Yeah.
And honestly, I you're right, Gabe. They need to roam around in bigger groups and in the same direction, because when you see just 1 or 2 on their own and you're not expecting them to be in a place that's not a scare zone with no other monsters, I thought 2 people just came fully dressed up to the park looking all weird.
That was the first thing you actually said to me. You're like, are these guests? I was no, I don't think they're guests. They're too legit. I thought
they were just some inappropriately decored guests. So there need to be more of them, and they need to be
more spread
prominent,
out.
Yeah.
Like a couple big groups walking around, so that because I know that when we were walking through, I'm like, at first when we were walking to the back of the park in the early part of the day, I'm like, oh, I guess there's no scare zone here anymore, because it used to be Zombie Crossing or something.
Yeah.
It used to be really dark. So then on our way back, we saw the monsters, and I was like, oh, wait, I guess there is a scare zone here.
Yeah.
But why are they just random monsters? I didn't really quite get it. So hopefully there could be a little bit more cohesiveness to that.
Yeah.
As well as a little bit more of them, so it feels like there's these huge roaming herds.
Yeah.
Like they're kind of making it out to be.
Because I do like the idea of nowhere is safe, because that's how it should be.
Yeah, there should be no safe zones.
But they just need more of them, and maybe a more cohesive storyline behind it, just so they're more recognizable for what they're supposed to be.
Exactly. I completely agree. And the other experience that they have here is escape. The monsters gather at Demon's Door and refuse to let you leave Fright Fest. We dare you attempt to escape these gates beginning every night, 1 hour before closing. So this is essentially just taking monsters from every single scare zone and shoving them in one place, which is freaking cool.
You have to pass through them to leave. If you leave, within an hour of closing. If you leave before that, you miss them. You just get the normal Demon's Door monsters. But
which isn't bad. Demon's Door is awesome. We'll talk about that later.
But I do love this part. Like, we loved it last year. We caught it this year as we were leaving, and it's so much fun.
It's really cool to see all these different monsters mingling together, and it just feels really populated with monsters. And that's the way that you ultimately would want every scare zone to feel like, because there's just so many of them, but obviously there's limitations of what they can do. So at least we have that opportunity to see something of that scale one time during the night.
I agree.
So that's really cool. So those are the three kind of unique experiences that Fright Fest offers. On top of that, they have 2 stage shows. One's Voodoo Nights, the hottest place to be, with great bands, DJs, sizzling dancers, and dark fun. So we walked by that twice, and we saw 2 different acts up there, and they were rocking.
They were great. Honestly, I wanted to stop and keep watching both times. We did a little bit for one of them. It was
like a band, like a rock band.
A boy and a girl singer. Yeah.
Yeah, it was actually really well done.
They were awesome.
They were really, they had a really big group, too.
Yeah.
Which is cool.
It really drew people, and it was really fun.
Mm-hmm. And then the other stage show they have is High Sierra Hypnotist. Prepare yourself for a mystical, edge-of-your-seat comical stage show located in Golden Bear Theater. So that is the one that's actually like right past that stage, past the Full Throttle bar restaurant area.
Yes.
So that's over there. And we did not see that, so we can't comment on any of that.
Yeah.
I mean, they have 2 stage shows. I think they could get another. That would be kind of cool.
Yeah.
And really with these types of events, stage shows are really people eaters. Just to get people out of lines of the mazes. That's a big part of them. And just by having 2, I think 3 or 4 could really help, because this park gets insane.
Yeah.
Especially given the fact that they don't close the park to the regular guests. So guests that are there all day can go and see these stage shows or buy the maze passes, and it'll just make lines that much more intense. So by having these shows, it could kind of, thin the crowds.
Yeah, I agree.
So, on top of that, during the daytime, they have pint-sized frights by day, which it's Witch Hazel Pumpkin Patch Crafts and Trick or Treat Masquerade. So at least they have something during the day that kind of makes it spooky, but for kids.
That's super cute.
Yeah, really cute. I really like that. And then for dining, they have the brand new for this year 6 Feet Under Club, or Club 6 Feet Under. I said it backwards.
Yeah.
A lively pop-up party with deadly DJs spinning hot jams until the wee hours of the night. Enjoy ghoulish grub and grog, plus plenty of ghouls and scares, located at the Metro Park Pub. So that is where we had like our location set up when we went to go visit for media night. And I think the area is actually really fun.
It's super great. I feel like people might not, I know it's in the program, but I feel like people might not realize it's there, because every time we walked by, it wasn't really that populated, but also it's kind of like set down a little hill. It's not that like prominent, in your eyesight. Like
when you walk up to it, it's kind of blocked by a whole bunch of umbrellas.
Yeah, like people might not even feel like they're allowed to go in there, in my opinion. And
well, it says club, so you're assuming. I feel like that kind of verbiage maybe makes it seem like it's exclusive or something.
Exclusive, yeah.
Even though it's just a gate with no guards or anything, and I know a lot of people will probably go in.
But also, there was no DJ every time we passed by.
Well, I mean, it was the first night. Playing. It was the first night, as well as on top of the fact that we only walked by it twice. There could be a very good chance that we walked by it where there was nobody there at that moment. Somebody's on break. People have to go eat. So, having entertainment there all night would rock. But maybe we just caught it at the wrong time.
I think it's a super fun idea, though. And I think it would be great if, I don't know, maybe if they make it a little bit easier to spot, or like they do something to draw people in there. Like maybe have a scare monster that's like a host or something standing.
That is a great idea. They have like a zombie bouncer or something that invites people in to get some foot traffic into the club, because that's a place where you could get drinks and some food and stuff, which is kind of cool. I really enjoyed it.
I mean, it's a place where if we go back, I'd want to hang out in there for a little while.
Yeah, and it's also at the bottom of the hill on one side, so you can kind of get your liquid courage down there and then make your way up the hill. So that's kind of fun. Drinking
a beer and climbing up that hill sounds like the worst idea you've ever had.
No, it's the best idea I've ever had. Trust me.
I don't trust you.
We'll go back and do it. We will go back and do it. And then, other than that, they also have ghoulish grub at the pub. Enjoy a ghoulish meal in the company of creepy creatures and spooky fun. And with monstertainment.
Whoa!
I like that word, monstertainment.
Monstertainment.
Monstertainment. They made a new word. I really enjoy that, actually. It says, buy tickets at wristband sales counter, Big Belly Burger, Plaza Cafe, and Metro Park Pub. So that's what you have to do. And that's also new for this year.
Cool.
And then now, let's get into the major portion of what makes Fright Fest Fright Fest.
Here we go.
So I would like to state first that the scare zones that they have here are pretty freaking incredible. And the makeup jobs that Scott Ramp does with his Scream team is amazing. You know, I wrote this in our review on the website, themeparkduo.com. And it's just, every time I go to Fright Fest, I'm in awe at the makeup work that he does on a lot of these street character monsters, because they're terrifying, but they're also beautiful to look at because you don't see any edges on his makeup a lot of the time. I mean, they're also perfectly designed for this thematic lighting that they have in a lot of the areas, and not to miss out on even Damned in Disguise, which brings a whole new level of makeup work that he had to do.
Yeah.
You know, and you'll be hearing us every time we talk about a scare zone, we're going to be talking about the makeup every single time.
Yeah, pretty much.
I kind of wanted to get that out of the way because it's going to happen regardless. So let's start at the scare zones, like we stated. So the first major thing that was back by popular demand was the Suicide Squad, the Six Flags Fright Fest experience. Suicide Squad, the Six Flags Fright Fest experience will transform the park's DC Universe area into DC's Midway City, where some of the worst heroes ever from the film Suicide Squad will be roaming the streets. That is a hefty name, by the way.
Yeah.
It is the Suicide Squad, the Six Flags Fright Fest experience. Like, I feel like it's a tongue twister. Like, I'm always scared I'm going to mess it up every time I say it. So, this is back, like it says, it's back from last year. I enjoyed it just as much as last year. I don't know how you feel.
I enjoyed it last year greatly. I wasn't sad to see it back, but I just feel like it lost a little bit of steam from last year.
Do you think that's because the movie was out around the time that the scare zone or the experience was there last year?
Yeah, I mean, a little bit of the hype was probably missing. I feel like there maybe have been a few more of those kind of mutant monsters running around last year. It's kind of like one note for the actual things that are scaring you in that scare zone. It's just the mutant, looking people. But, I mean, there's no denying the fact that the photo ops were packed all night long.
They were unbelievably popular.
Yeah.
Unbelievably popular.
The line for Harley Quinn and the Joker never died down.
What was kind of insane that I saw so many people wearing Harley Quinn stuff when they went to Six Flags.
Yeah.
And they were all in line for Harley Quinn. So I don't know if they specifically came here for that, or they happen to be here dressed like that because they know that it's DC superheroes here. Whatever the case may be.
Yeah.
These characters were unbelievably popular.
And
Harley Quinn and Joker were. I don't know so much about Katana. I felt bad about that.
She wasn't there towards the end of the night. I feel like she didn't get as much love, but...
And Killer Croc wasn't there the night we were there.
No, wasn't there at all.
He could have been there another night or something,
Maybe,
but
yeah.
At least that time he wasn't.
And also the actors that they get to play them are phenomenal. All of them.
Oh, they're top-notch.
The Joker does the Joker laugh, like, so cool.
He does it really, really well, and he's always in character. We saw him and everybody else playing those characters at Midsummer Scream, and even then, outside of that environment, they're killing it.
Yep.
So that's always really, really cool. Nikki, what's the other new scare zone for this year?
The other new scare zone for this year is Damned and Disguised. Change before your eyes. The city of Metropolis is transformed into a first ever, right in front of your eyes, morphing masquerade.
So this was a little bit interesting. I know that we spoke to some of the management team. They said that first night they were missing some people and some stuff wasn't really quite working well as best as they wanted it to be.
Yeah.
So we were experiencing it in a very different light than I feel like most people will be later down in the season. But overall, I actually really enjoyed the scare zone. I thought the concept was really cool.
I really enjoyed it too. It was fun. Like you were kind of scared but like enthralled by these monsters all at the same time. You like wanted to stay away, but then you found yourself like right next to them all the time. Like it was a really fun open area. The lighting was great, and it really kind of shocked you when you looked at one of the monsters and then looked away, and then the lighting changed and you look back and they look completely different. So it was really fun.
It was fun to see those makeup changes with the black light paint and to see things glow and change and the way that the lighting changed. The only downside to, I think, the scare zone was its extreme lack of like props and settings or anything. It was literally just this big cement block in front of the Justice League building.
Yeah.
So I wish there was some stuff for monsters to kind of hide in or go around and to utilize for the experience. And because it just felt like they were all kind of running in this one big circle.
Yeah, like it was a masquerade, you know, so it was supposed to be a party setting, you know, they all had these like suits and ball gowns on, so make it look like a party, even an outdoor party, you know, just, you know, spruce it up a bit, you know, some topiaries, even, you know, a dance floor in the middle, you know, and like even just that little stuff would have made it seem much more like these monsters are here at a party and shenanigans are going on.
Yeah, no, I completely 100% agree. But even with those shortcomings, I do think that the basis of what they have there is something that's extremely interesting and very, very different than anything I've seen at any other theme park, which is always nice, or at least any other haunt, that I think is nice to see them kind of pushing the envelope there and changing things up, stuff that you don't normally see. And I feel like that overall this season at Fright Fest, I feel like they've done that quite a bit.
I think so too. They're really pushing the envelope and branching into new exciting areas.
Unsearched territories and stuff, you know.
Yeah.
So that's kind of fun. So, but overall, I think Masquerade, Damned in Disguise was pretty cool, but had some faults to it. I'm really, really excited to see where it comes next year.
Yeah.
If it comes back, which I guarantee you it will come back. And see kind of where they plus it and change it so that it can become its best scare zone it could possibly be.
Yeah.
Because we know that it has the ability to do it. Well, so we're just excited to see it come back. So the other scare zone that we love so much this year, and it's back, is Exile Hill. The dead have risen and are looking for new souls to take on this dark and sinister hill, located on top of the hill by Sky Tower. This is the home to one of the best scare actors I've ever run into in my entire life, and it's Innocence. I have no idea who that lady is, but she is incredible.
Yeah.
She never breaks character. She doesn't talk, and she moves at a snail's pace.
It's just so fun to just sit up there and watch her unnerve people.
And that's the thing, is that it's not like a boo scare that most monsters are going to be giving you. It is terrifying, because she's moving so slow towards you, and when she's coming towards you, you know she's still coming.
Yeah.
And you're watching her slowly get to you, and that's the tension.
Yeah.
It's that tension that builds. And it's wonderful. And I love to see her do her work up there on Exile Hill, and it's fantastic. I just wish there was a little bit more lighting so I could see people's scared faces, because oftentimes the lines are in shadow.
Yeah, it's a little dark. Even mood lighting, you know, like a blue light or a green light or a red light, just any little bit more lighting, I think would just help a little bit.
Yeah, Exile Hill in general is really dark.
Yeah.
Which isn't bad.
No, it's fine.
I mean, I like dark scare zones to a certain extent, but I just wish there was a little bit more thematic lighting.
Yeah, and I mean, the rest of their scare actors up there were great too. I love the creepy chauffeur. He was just standing there by the hearse. It was a hearse.
They were standing by the hearse.
Yeah, and all the rest of them. There was a stilt walker too, I believe.
There was a stilt walker there.
He was great.
Yeah, it was actually a woman.
She was great. Sorry.
Yes.
It was
How dare you
so
assume
dark
her
I
gender.
couldn't see.
How dare you?
I'm sorry.
Well, it is a monster, so I mean, sometimes it's hard to tell.
Yeah.
So that's fine. But what's cool about the scare zone, it's kind of tied into the two mazes that are there, Willoughby's Resurrected and Dead End, because all of that kind of encompasses the story of the Willoughbys and that family that lives, in air quotes, in the house that's the haunted house there, which is kind of fun. I like that the scare zone's kind of tied into what's going on there and this large storyline and arcing story of the family.
Yeah.
So, Exile Hill is a classic. I really don't hope it goes anywhere. I really enjoy it. Where would Innocence go? And they have awesome sliders there too, so...
Yeah.
Don't go anywhere.
It's something that we look forward to every year, so I hope it stays for a little bit longer.
Exactly.
Yeah. Okay, next up on the list is Territory Twisted. The Screampunk district has been transformed into the biggest scare zone ever, where steam-spewing mechanical beasts relentlessly hunt down their victims.
And this was a scare zone that was pretty much just lit with blood red lights.
Yeah.
Which made everything extremely unnerving.
Yeah.
Because it lent a certain type of feel to the entire area, which I enjoyed. Last year, I know that Territory Twisted, we really, really liked. And correct me if I'm wrong, but it felt a bit different this year. I felt like the lighting was a bit different.
The lighting may have been different. All the decorations were the same, but I loved the decorations, so no fault there. I mean, they're so cool, the gear, spiders, and creatures and all that. It's fantastic.
And it looks awesome with all that stuff, too, because you have this massive amount of fog and this really heavy thematic lighting, and when the light and the fog go through some of those gears and the decorations that they have, it creates these awesome like projections of light that are coming through objects. It's really fun to look at, and when you get busy doing that, you get scared.
Yeah. The only thing I'd say about it is there's not really much we could say about the scare actors, because they were good, but their makeup kind of was just
like, some of them had gears on their face, some of them just had gashes.
Yeah.
I mean, all of it looked good.
Yeah.
It just didn't feel very uniform in a way that it can be easily determined what the theme was.
Yeah.
I'm assuming it's the type of gears and stuff just by the description and just by seeing the environment in some of them.
Yeah.
But
people killed by
all of them,
machines or something.
yeah, but if all of them had makeup that just was a little bit more uniform and cohesive, I think it would be better.
Yeah. No, overall I loved the scare zone. I felt a little confused by the makeup on the actors. Maybe it was just me. I'm not sure.
No, I don't think it was just you.
Yeah.
I agree to a certain extent. Also, let's not forget that awesome projection that they had on that building, too, which was amazing.
That was so cool.
That made me just stand back and just, my mouth was open.
Yeah.
It was awesome to see.
And we watched it for a good while.
I wanted to know what it was. And I thought it was a really cool addition to kind of give the area a little bit more kinetic energy, which was fun and nice. Mm-hmm. And let's also not forget the cool freaking arch that goes over the entire scare zone, where it's like this big metal arch with a spider face at the top.
Oh, I love it.
Which is really dominating when you're looking at it from a distance, because right next to it is the Suicide Squad experience, and sometimes those lights kind of go over there and shine on it past it and light it up for a hot second, and it looks really cool when it gets lit up in the middle of the night in the dark with the red lights. Fantastic.
What's next, Gabe?
So the next one up is Demon's Door. Welcome to hell. Once you enter, be prepared for your mind and body to be completely taken over by the evil spirits that await you, located at the main gate area. So this is what you have to face as soon as you come in the park.
Yeah.
So that's fantastic.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, it's right. It's literally, you walk in the park and there's these huge, intimidating statues of demons, and they say Demon's Door on the bottom of them.
The makeup on all of the actors are great.
Yes, and this is another kind of semi-black light area where they have some type of addition of black light paint on their face to kind of accent whatever else their makeup is doing.
Yes. I just had a thought, though.
What was that?
If you're already in the park, you're gonna miss this until you leave, or
that's actually a good point. Unless you make your way down,
until you make a special trip. Which why would you? There's nothing else down there to go down there to that area, So it's it's kind of something you have to seek out, or just catch on your way out of the park when you're already tired. I think that it should stay where it is, but be pushed back to encompass the area by the water, so people have to walk through it in order to get somewhere else.
I think that's a good idea, because right now that little entrance in between the two stores has these almost rock spire things that kind of house some lighting and some paint that kind of pop at night. I think if they just got rid of those from that area and pushed them up the hill and up the way towards Full Throttle, and then moved those gigantic demon statues to where they used to be, I think that would work. I think that would work perfectly, because then people can turn the corner and then they're faced with this instead of seeing them kind of from the gate, which visually I think would be kind of cool.
Yeah, because I was just thinking about it, and especially in a park that doesn't close for the event, most people are gonna sneak in a little early so they can be by whatever line they want to, go in first or whatever. So a lot of people are gonna miss this unless they make a point to go see it. So
and it's a scare zone that shouldn't be missed either because it's really good. All the actors in there are always on point.
Yeah,
they're always fantastic. They're always messing with you.
Yeah.
And especially with us on media night, we're trying to take pictures of them, and they just don't care. They're like, nope, busy, trying to scare people. Sorry, later.
Yeah. No,
they're not saying that, but they're running around.
Yeah.
And they'll, look at you, and they'll notice you're taking a picture and completely walk as close as they can towards your camera, or just turn their back to you. Which is great, because that's the kind of attitude it should be sometimes. Where it's like the scares are number one.
Yeah.
That's what it should always be. Scares are always number one. And if there's an opportunity to scare the living crap out of some little girl, then stare at my camera, go for it. I'd rather much have you do that.
Yeah.
So maybe they'll push it up next year. Maybe they'll do that, because I think you're right. Forcing people to walk through it and being entertained by that environment, which would be fantastic.
Yeah, I just think right now it's a little easy to avoid if you want to avoid it.
Yeah,
you shouldn't
you're right.
give people that option.
No place to hide.
Exactly. Go with your theme. No place to hide. Okay, so moving on to the last scare zone on our list. It is Nightmares, a twisted fantasy. This evil nightmare has never been so edgy as your favorite bedtime stories take on a new and twisted tale located between Viper and Katie's Kettle.
Katie's Kettle?
Katie's Kettle, oh no.
What?
They better serve kettle corn.
Oh, I mean, they probably do.
I don't know. I don't remember.
You got me all tongue-tied because I don't know if they do or do not sell kettle corn.
Kettle corn aside.
People are going to be pissed when they listen to this and be like, there's no kettle corn there. I went there specifically for kettle corn because of the theme park dude told me, and now there's no kettle corn. How dare you?
Back to the scare zone. This is my favorite scare zone.
Kettle corn.
This is my favorite scare zone. It's so fun, and it's pretty, and it's bright, and it's spooky, and the costumes and the scare actors in it are absolutely amazing.
And unlike, I guess actually it's kind of like the roaming clowns that used to be in DC Universe area. They have their characters like they are.
Yeah.
You know, you have like Peaches the Clown and stuff. You have characters over here where they're very talkative.
Yeah.
And sometimes they'll pull you aside, like what happened to us, and they'll talk to you for like a couple minutes to kind of get you enveloped in this world that the scare zone is trying to create.
Yeah.
And I think that's really fun. It makes it unique and different and engaging.
I think out of all of the haunts, I think, correct me if I'm wrong, I personally feel like the monsters at Six Flags interact with you the most. I
mean, Queen Mary, they interact quite a bit.
Yes, Queen Mary too. They're big head characters. Some of them, the captain will chat you up forever, and the ringmaster, but it's I just feel
for a theme park haunt, you are correct.
For a theme park haunt, just these roaming monsters and their scare zones, some of them are quite chatty, and they have this story and they have this persona that I just love. It's so cool. Like the witch in this particular scare zone that was describing how my husband said that she could cook me and eat me. Yeah.
She asked nicely.
Jerk.
I couldn't say no. She asked so nicely. And she was going to offer me a chunky pumpkin latte, apparently.
Yeah, see, it's that kind of
Filled
stuff. It's
with
so
fiber.
fun, and you talk
According
about
to her.
it. You talk about it after. It's so much fun.
Then they had the still walking queen.
Oh, yeah.
Which was really cool, and if you don't speak correctly to her, she will make fun of you for it. And I say, can I take a photo of you? And she goes, can you? I'm like, may I take a photo of you? She goes, smart. Yes, you may.
So sassy.
So that was cool. I mean, even the decorations around it, you have these demented mushrooms and trees. Then there's the white roses that are being painted red to just allude to that storyline. There was a Pinocchio monster that was sitting on a tree.
Yeah. And
people didn't notice him. He would come out and scare the living daylights out of people.
Yeah.
Because when you're in that type of blacklight environment, it's kind of hard to tell the difference between setting and monsters sometimes if they're up against something.
Yeah.
Just because those colors just kind of blend together sometimes. And it's perfect for scares. And it's also filled with fog, which is very difficult to see through sometimes.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden you're walking up to somebody who's 9 feet tall, which is very intimidating. But I could go on and on about the scare zone. And overall, just in general, the scare zones at Six Flags are pretty strong most of the time. I mean, yes, there are a couple here and there right now that we have some issues with that could be fixed up, could be plussed and bettered, and can be improved upon.
Yeah.
But overall, I don't think there is one that is bad. Everything is either ranging from good to great, which is nice.
Yeah, I think their scare zones are solid, and I think they're improving too, which is great to see.
And for me, when I go to Fright Fest, I think about the scare zones. That's what I'm excited for.
Yeah.
Whenever I go to Six Flags Fright Fest. And I implore people, if you're going to this event, take your time in these scare zones, because it's really fun to watch these people do their thing. But on top of that, the makeup is amazing, the environments are fun, and sometimes you'll see something that you probably won't see any other time if you take your moment in there and watch.
Yeah.
So that's my piece of advice, really. I mean, that kind of goes with every scare zone, but particularly here because the scare zones are pretty strong.
Yeah.
Do it, 100%.
One thing is, though, they're easy to avoid, so that's our advice. Don't avoid them.
Yeah, I guess they are pretty easy to avoid.
They're all in these little alcoves that you could easily just pass by.
Yeah, I mean, like that park is just, there's so much
It's a big
space.
park. It's a daunting task to try to figure out where to put these, because it is a big park, and there are so many places where you don't want to be dead zones, but you can't have 20 scare zones either, so
Well, I mean, remember last year they had a lot more scare zones, and
did.
some were big, some were small, some were really, really quick, some were really, really large.
Mm-hmm.
And just looking at the map, because I'm sure you could hear the sound of the paper of the map that we're looking at right now, just looking at this size of Six Flags Magic Mountain, it's huge.
yeah.
And inherently, there are probably going to be some moments where you're not going to run into monsters, and that happens.
Yeah.
But I feel like they try to do a good enough job of kind of putting the scare zones in places where you feel as though you have to go into them. There will be portions of the park where there won't be scare actors, but it'll be worth it once you get to them. So,
Yeah.
Totally 100% great. And then when we come to the mazes, they have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 mazes. And as we said, you just buy a wristband to get into these. If you're at the park and you just happen to be there all day, all you have to do is buy a wristband. You go in and you can buy a regular wristband or get like a priority access wristband, which is like a front of the line. Sometimes this worked out best when we were there, but sometimes there was times where I feel like the people who were like letting people in didn't really let priority access in as often as they probably should have. Like, I felt like at the Toys of Terror,
Yeah.
we were waiting there for a while, and then he put us at the very back of the group,
Yeah.
which was a little odd, because we came up and a group had already gone into that line, and then he let more people from the general line then put us at the end. I don't really get that.
Yeah.
But I mean, at least we didn't have to wait in the regular line, which is fine. I mean, that line was actually quite long.
Yeah.
On opening night.
Same with Vault 666. I feel like the front of the line got a little long, but still, I mean, we were in fairly quickly.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
that also kind of comes upon like the way the mazes are designed as well, which we'll get to. So, Nikki, what's the very first maze that we're going to be talking about?
The very first maze on the list is Dead End, and that was new for this year. Evil brother Malachi haunts the dark passages of the Willoughby's estate. Find your way through, but don't get trapped in the dead end located near Ninja.
Presented by M&M's.
Presented by M&M's.
At the very end of the maze, there's M&M's. It's just a big vat of M&M's that you have to jump into, and you have to eat your way out.
Don't
it's fantastic.
disappoint people, Gabe. That
I'm sorry,
does not exist.
that does not exist. I apologize.
I got really excited, and I knew it didn't exist.
Now for your birthday, I'm just gonna have to create a vat of M&M's.
Yes.
Oh, Jesus, she's staring at me.
This is one of those times where you need to read my eyes.
She's so serious. So Dead End. I'm not quite sure where to start on this one. Yeah, this is tough because I really, like we had said before, they're trying different things.
It had potential. Let's say that.
And it definitely had potential. They're trying different things. They're trying new things. But if you're going to be trying to do these new things, that you need to execute them perfectly to engage those guests. And I feel like with Dead End, they were trying their best, but I don't think they really hit the mark at all.
Not this time.
So for Dead End, it's a maze where you're given a flashlight. It's like I don't remember the name of the flashlights, but like they vibrate and they shake and they
They're programmable.
They flicker
so,
and change colors.
Yeah, so in certain rooms or quarters they could turn off, in others they could flicker. The light color could change. So there was lots that could be done with these flashlights. And I felt like they weren't used to their full potential.
Exactly.
Like, and also, like, the times that they were shining, there was nothing to shine them on. The maze just didn't have that much in it.
Yeah, and that was the issue. Like, you're given this flashlight, and for one, they only give you one flashlight.
The whole group.
For an entire group of between 6 to 8 people.
We had 8 people in our group.
And we were all shuffling in the dark.
I was the second, you were the third in the group, and we couldn't see anything. So the people at the back, the poor people, they were in the dark the whole time. Mm-hmm, so I think it needs to be a flashlight every person or every 2 to 3 people at least.
So when you go into the maze, they give you the flashlight, and you kind of cram into one room where they kind of give you a very small briefing on what to expect. Then there's a monster that jumps out and scares you, and then you go into the experience. That first room is decorated to a certain extent, and then as you progress through the attraction, it's just black plywood walls with some tape on the wall so you don't run into the corners.
Yeah.
And then sometimes you'll come into a room where there'll be like 1 or 2 props and some monsters, but
that's really it.
That was it. There was nothing really in there that really helped you kind of get a sense of what the setting is, why there's things at stake, why you should be scared, or anything. I mean, they do a good job of, like, setting up the tension because you're in the dark.
I think you were tense because
you're in the dark, and you're tense because you don't run into a wall. But I mean, I feel like they do get a good sense of tension because of that. But after that first scare, you pretty much know what you're in for.
But I know, like, personally, our group, like, our leader holding the flashlight, through no fault of his own, went the wrong way probably 4 times. Yeah,
like, he almost went to, like, exits where people are having lunch, which we've talked to plenty of people who nobody stopped them from going the wrong way, and they went to a room and they saw monsters eating sandwiches.
Yeah, like, just a break room that they just wandered into because there was no clear, like, set design in the maze to lead them a certain way.
Exactly, and then they could easily utilize this flashlight to turn into that, like, black light coloring one that you could kind of see things on, and paint, like, an arrow with, like, blood and says, like, this way or something, and then you see it because you're shining the flashlight, and even that utilizes the flashlight more than it was utilized in this.
Yeah.
And a lot of those monsters were just screaming in my ear, which isn't scary, it just hurt.
Yeah.
So, I mean, at the very end of it, I was rather disappointed because I felt like it was an opportunity for them to really set themselves apart in something that is really, really fun. But I feel like they just missed the mark. Hopefully it comes back and they really, really adjust it to some of the issues that it has.
Yeah.
Hopefully they'll be able to listen to a lot of what people are saying and make it the best it possibly can be, because that maze can be really cool.
It does have potential.
It has extreme potential. It has a lot of potential. One, just give everybody flashlights. Mm-hmm. Just everybody a flashlight. That would really, really help.
Yeah.
Because even the people in the back just couldn't see anything. Like, the scares were just the people at the front.
Yeah.
And even then, it was the person holding the flashlight, not us. People, and we were second and third.
The people in the back of the group were just awkwardly clinging to strangers, just so they were conga lining through this blackness, because they didn't have a flashlight. So, yeah, just more flashlights and more set design, I think, would help a lot.
Yeah, exactly. After that, we head up Aftermath to Chaos Rising. The city of Ash Valley is threatened with the release of a dangerous virus. The park's largest outdoor maze to date is located near Apocalypse, presented by Dove. So we did not get chocolate at the end of this maze. Once again, very disappointing.
It flew away.
But this maze is very, very impressive with its scope and size, like it says.
Yeah.
Because there's portions where you're outside and it just feels like you're in an apocalypse. It really does.
Is that because it's near the knockdown stage? Did they just leave the rubble?
Well, yeah. Well, I mean, like, they took the Batman's... Well, so people know, a lot of the things that are in this maze are taken from the Batman stunt show and moved over there so that they could incorporate it into the theming, which is genius.
It's brilliant, yeah.
Genius. So you're walking through rubble, you're walking through torn down, broken down cars, fire shooting in the air, and these really, really large buildings that you're walking into, and then you get into some sets, but for all intents and purposes, you feel like you're walking into this real building.
Yeah.
And it's really cool. I wish that like some of the monsters that they had like some really cool prosthetics on. A lot of them were just like covered in blood, or like some of them were victims of this chaos that's happening.
Yeah.
I do remember seeing a really cool stilt walking monster in there that had a really scary mask on. And I think I took a picture of him, but that was really impressive. I just want some of the other monsters in there to kind of reinforce that.
Yeah.
And then on top of that, I feel like they do a good job of like creating this urgency, because when you're walking into the attraction, you already have like these like emergency TV channel sounds, which is cool. And as you get in, there's these army people like, hurry, go, go, go. We need you to get out of here. Why are we entering something that we need to get out of? But still, nonetheless, this sense of urgency is created, and I like that. So every single room feels like it's leading and leading and leading and leading up to something.
Yeah.
So that's always really fun.
Yeah, so overall this was a strong and fun maze. I think a few people said they felt it was too long, but I think it was fine.
It did feel like it was just
it was very
and
long.
Going and going.
Yeah. But I didn't mind that too much. I thought it was just more to see.
That's true.
Yeah.
There is more to see. And if they were to like cut that thing in half and took some of the monsters from certain areas of that and shoved them into that would feel like the most intense maze, because it would feel like there's monsters everywhere.
Yeah.
So, I mean, yeah, maybe that could have helped. But I like the size of the maze and giving it this really impressive scope, which is fun. I really think that that's really, really fun. I would definitely recommend this one on top of a lot of them for people because of how big it is.
Yeah.
So, thumbs up to that one.
Yeah, I agree. Okay, next on the list is Red's Revenge. Over the hill and through the woods to grandmother's house you go. Enter the world of Red Riding Hood and the big bad wolf. But in this fairy tale, you and the wolf are haunted by Red and her demonic minions, located near Full Throttle.
Presented by Takis. I like Takis. Takis are good.
I don't like Takis.
Why don't you like Takis?
I don't know.
You have issues.
Well, I love the concept of this maze. I love, like...
I thought you were going to say, I love the concept of Takis.
I love... No, but I do. I love the concept of this maze, not Takis. And and it's just, it's a very cool twist. Like, that Red Riding Hood didn't make it, and she turned all bitter and started going crazy.
No, yeah, it's fantastic. And this is an area of the park that Nikki and I have started to call the trifecta. Because to us, these three mazes are probably the strongest in the park. Mm-hmm. And they all reside in one area. And Red's is very impressive. The only issue that I have with it is I felt like it didn't really change much from last year to this year.
It didn't.
It just, like, I feel like our friends over at Parks and Cons, they basically said it perfectly. Sean said, it just felt like they closed their doors in the end of Fright Fest last year and then reopened them the day before we came in.
Probably.
And it felt exactly like that. No settings were changed. No sets were changed. No scares were changed. Everybody was in the same spot. He didn't say this, but for all intents and purposes, they locked those people in there too. But, I mean, that's not necessarily a bad thing. I think that this maze is extremely effective in what it's doing, and I think it kind of does set up the story well. And like the other two in the area, its sets and design are really, really well done.
Yeah, it just doesn't... I think when you don't change up your older mazes, you're just inviting people to get bored with it, though.
Yeah, to a certain extent.
Like it doesn't...
Yeah.
It like other parks, you know, the reason we go so many times is to experience this maze. What's changed? What's new? What have they plussed? What have they altered? You know, and so there's plenty of mazes where I wouldn't go back through if it was exactly the same as the year before, you know, so it doesn't invite repeat walkthroughs, you know, so I think that's kind of important to do. So like, although it is a strong maze and, you know, it's fun with a cool theme, I think it's important to switch it up and try to plus it and, you know, just change a few little things each year. Exactly,
and I completely 100% agree. I don't think there's too much else to say about this. I mean, They also have these really cool demonic-looking Groot-type monsters in there, which is pretty fun.
Yeah.
I really enjoy that. And there's also a really good scare right at the very end, right when you're walking out, which is pretty fun.
Yeah.
I really enjoy it. I really like mazes. They give you one last spook before you leave.
Yeah.
It's like you have you running out of the maze, which is really fun. I love watching people run out of mazes. It's always really, really entertaining. Next on our list is Vault 666. If you dare to enter, be aware of your surroundings at all times. Unknown animal-like screams have been heard deep within the unsecured vault, located near Full Throttle. Presented by Twix. Are you a left Twix or right Twix type person, Nikki?
I'm a no Twix type person.
You don't like Twix?
I don't like Twix either.
Well, I'm not gonna lie. I'm not a huge caramel guy, so this is gonna sound really weird. But if I have like a mini Twix, like the fun size ones, I'll bite the caramel off the top and then throw it away and just eat the cookie and the chocolate.
Just get a different chocolate.
No, but the cookie tastes so good. It's shortbread. I love shortbread, Nikki. Goodness gracious.
Oh yeah, I'm not a Twix fan either.
That's fine. What about peanut butter Twix?
Is there caramel in it?
No, I said peanut butter Twix.
Oh.
Instead of caramel, it's peanut butter.
I might be okay with that.
It's really good.
Okay, I'll try that.
Okay, we'll buy them today.
Okay.
So Vault 666 is something interesting. Oh, something that we completely forgot to mention is that these three mazes have like a pre-show that you walk into first. So for Red's Revenge, you walk in, it tells you the story of why everything is happening, and there's an air blast that scares everybody,
yeah.
and then you go into the maze. So that's why it kind of takes a long time, and that's the reason why I had mentioned, like, you had mentioned the line was kind of long for the express lane for Vault 666, because it's the same thing.
Yeah, it happens.
You walk into a pre-show where you're going into this facility, and you go in to get, like, security scanned, and then an animal-human hybrid attacks the freaking security guard, and then you have to run through the rest of the maze.
Yeah.
Not literally run, because you'd be out of breath, but...
it holds up the line a little bit.
Walk at a brisk pace.
Yeah, but it breaks up the conga line inside, which I do like.
We did catch up to the group behind us, because inevitably people walk really slow.
Yeah, but it's better than conga lining through the whole thing, which is probably my least favorite thing about mazes now, is just that they're so... The capacity, just like, people don't move that fast, so you end up conga lining and you see all the scares, but you miss them yourself. It's my biggest pet peeve about mazes.
And that's anywhere.
Anywhere, any park, like no one is safe from the conga line. So, it's just one of the things that you put up with when you love haunts. But that's why I do all the mazes early. So there are no conga lines.
Pretty much.
But yeah, so I do like that even though it slows the line down a bit, the showrooms kind of break up the conga line.
Oh, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And for this maze, Vault 666, I felt like a lot of the scares in there were really, really effective. They had some really, really creepy makeup in there as well.
Mm-hmm.
That being said, I felt like throughout the maze, it was very hot and cold at times, where something was really unnerving and really scary, and then you walk into another room and the monster's just out in the open trying to scare you.
Yeah.
Which that just doesn't work.
Yeah.
But there were really effective ones, and I feel like this is one where you heard me yell and you laughed at me.
Yeah.
A lot. And
I always laugh at you when you yell.
well, yeah, because when I do get scared, I get scared. Like, there's no in between. It's either straight face, me staring at the monster, or me screaming, Jesus Christ!
Yeah, pretty much.
That's me. Me in a maze. Pretty much,
Did you yell Jesus Christ in Vault 666?
I was trying to protect myself. I'm Catholic. Yeah, that's just instinctual reaction for me. It's either that or to yell an obscenity. I don't know why.
Yeah.
It's just when I get scared, it's that, and then I also get really mad. Get mad because I got scared because it worked.
I get mad too. Nowadays, my scare noise is usually like a. Like I just get like frustrated.
For me, I yell whatever I yell, and then afterwards I'm like, damn it!
Yeah.
Because you got me good. And that happened a few times in this maze. There's just some really good hiding spots for some of the monsters in there.
Yeah.
And we came out smiling out of that one because we got a good one right at the end too. So
yeah, just
like Red's Revenge or something right near the end where it got us really good. So that one's fantastic. And moving on, what's the next one?
The next one is Chupacabra.
No, in the same area.
What?
And the list...
Oh, I'm going by the list.
Yeah, I know the list, but we're talking about the trifecta, so we have to skip. I know, I'm sorry.
You can't just not tell me these things, Gabe. We've been going by the list for 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 mazes.
I understand, and I apologize profusely about ruining the order of your list.
Making me look silly on not live air. You could edit this, but I know you're not going to.
You do that fine yourself, making yourself look silly. So
Okay.
I don't really have to do too much to emphasize the silliness of my wife.
Okay.
So what's the next maze,
Finishing
Nikki?
up the trifecta and going not
Don't
in
make
list
fun of
order.
me. Don't make fun of me.
We did not name it the trifecta.
Yes,
Gabe.
we did. We both called it that. Don't try to get out of this bus because the bus is already moving to the destination.
When you said that earlier, you're like the name that me and Nikki affectionately dubbed the trifecta. I was like, what?
You totally said it. Don't you try to get out of this. Don't you try to dodge this.
Okay.
You called it the trifecta just as much as I did.
Okay. Going off list, my favorite maze in the trifecta is Toys of Terror 3D. Gabe is shaking his head at me. Can't deal my sass.
This is like little stabs in each one of your sentences now.
Can't take my sass, can you?
No, not all the time.
Okay. All serious now. Toys of Terror 3D.
Really now? All serious?
Yes.
Okay, go for it.
All
Go for it. Toys of Terror 3D. Go for it. I just set Nikki off. Sometimes when she goes on a laughing streak, she just can't stop.
Why'd you do that?
I didn't mean to.
Okay.
She's trying to shake it off.
Okay.
Shake it off. Shake it off. Oh, oh, oh.
Toys of Terror 3D. Wicked. Gabe.
I'm sorry. I'm not even looking at you. I'm just like turning my head so you don't laugh.
Okay. Toys of Terror 3D. Wicked winds up. Oh my god. I'm all flustered now, Gabe. Okay. Sorry,
Makes for
audience.
entertaining
I am
podcasts.
so sorry. Okay. Wicked wind-ups, freakish furries, and
Did that get you? Freakish furries?
yes. Sorry. Okay.
You good?
Yeah. And deranged dolls haunt those who dare to enter the factory. Playing with dolls and trucks will never be the same. Located near Full Throttle.
And this is presented by nothing. You
By
get
nothing.
sir. Nothing.
And this was a
You
good
drank
one.
fizzy lifting drink. You get nothing.
Good day, sir.
Good day, sir.
Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory. It's not
You're
a toy
welcome.
factory, but it's close enough.
Yes. Toys of Terror 3D.
Toys of Terror 3D.
Just fun.
It's so fun.
All
It's
together
so fun.
fun. I have
And
no issues, no qualms
And
with this.
I know some people don't like 3D mazes, but I think this one really pulls it off, and like just the colors. And I've never stared at a floor that looked so cool in my life. Half the time I wasn't even looking up, which probably got me scared a few times, but the floor looked so cool.
And there's this crazy spinning tunnel with a clown at the end of it, which
Oh
is
yeah.
terrifying.
That's my favorite part.
Yeah,
I
no, it
love
was
it.
fantastic. And even though it's cheesy, even though it's like spooky silly,
Yeah.
this is probably one of my favorite mazes out of the entire night just because of how much fun I had.
And I know I am contradicting myself right now, but I'm pretty sure this hasn't changed since last year either. But I didn't care. Just
Yeah.
because of the type of maze it is. It's not a story-driven maze. There is a story, but it's not even in the synopsis. No one cares about the story. So
It's
just
toys and
it's just a
people
fun,
getting mad at you,
fun
trying to kill
maze.
you. Easy
no,
enough.
well, yeah, okay, but the story they tell you in the maze is that there's a toy maker who wants to turn you into one of his toys, but you don't get that throughout the maze really that
Which
much.
I guess is a downside.
Yeah.
Like the story's completely lost, but for some reason in this particular maze,
We
I
don't
didn't
care.
I didn't really care, just because I was so enthralled with how much fun I was having.
Yeah.
So I guess there's times where it does matter for me, and it doesn't matter at other times, and this just happens to be one where I didn't care. It was
Yeah.
just silly, spooky fun.
I think that's the thing with most 3D mazes, though.
What?
It's just more about the fun.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
totally. I don't think all 3D mazes. Well, I mean, like Halloween Horror Nights 3D mazes, maybe it's a bit different. But like with something that's like a traditional 3D cheesy scary maze,
Yeah.
I think you're hitting it on the nose.
Yeah.
So, moving on from the trifecta to the next maze on our list, which is Chupacabra. Come face to face with the elusive bloodthirsty creature as it terrorizes a local Dia de los Muertos festival, located in the X2 Plaza, presented by nothing.
Also nothing.
And my short one-sentence review for this is, there is no chupacabra.
Yeah, that was your issue last year.
Or the chupacabra has no teeth.
Yeah.
It's just gumming everybody.
It's just, yeah.
It's plain.
There
It's
wasn't
boring.
a line.
There's no monsters that are really effective
Yeah.
in there. I mean, some of the talent is working really hard to try to get these scares. It's that the environment that they're being placed into is not effective enough for them to get these scares.
Yeah.
And there's no, like I said, literally, there is no chupacabra. You don't ever run into the chupacabra ever. There's werewolves.
Yeah.
Why are there werewolves? It needs to be chupacabras and multiple, so it feels like it's one of them.
Also,
everywhere.
did it change at all from last year? I don't think it did.
There's less fog, which you could see all
Yeah.
the plywood walls more now.
Yeah.
Which kind of stinks. And they have this whole scene where it's like these people painted in the sugar skull makeup, and it's like this church scene with dead bodies and stuff. But you don't even walk through it. You walk by it. And
Yeah.
you're like protected by these pews, albeit one of them had somebody on it, but she
Yeah.
wasn't a monster. She was like a victim asking for help.
Yeah, you didn't feel that threatening feeling of walking through it with, everyone's back turned to you. You didn't know who was real, who wasn't, because you walked past it, so it wasn't even effective.
Yeah, and this maze needs to go. It really needs to go. They need to
Something
figure
fresh needs to
something
go.
fresh, something else in this area. Because from what I understand, this maze has been around for quite a while, and they don't really change it much. And it just deserves something better. It definitely deserves something better, especially on the level of maze that you have, like Red's Revenge or or Vault 666. When you have something like that, it's just a stark comparison to Chupacabra. It's ridiculous. And, I mean, I feel like Chupacabra is not a very good representation of what Six Flags is capable of, because they're capable of a lot more.
Yeah.
And it stinks that this maze, some people look at it and they kind of paint that across the entire event, which it shouldn't be that, because there's a lot of other really amazing things to do. But this one, it's run its course and it needs to go.
Okay, so moving on to the last maze that we're going to talk about is Willoughby's Resurrected. The Willoughby's family mansion tale unfolds before your eyes of this once affluent Victorian mansion that has become a haven to evil spirits, located at the base of Sky Tower.
Presented by Snickers.
Snickers.
I don't like Snickers.
I don't like Snickers either.
They don't get my hunger fixed or anything. They're just gross in general. I don't like them. The peanuts are okay, but I don't really like nougat. I'm not a nougat guy.
No.
Nougat's kind of boring.
Yeah, I'm just not a fan. I'm very picky with my chocolate bars.
Maybe I'll take a bite of one if it's like a fun size, but no way in heck you're going to find me buying like a king size or regular size Snicker.
No.
So, I like how the candy conversation comes up with every single maze because it's the sponsors.
We're dissecting the candy bars more than the mazes.
I will go with Takis and Dove. Those are my two choices.
I'll just take my pool of M&Ms. Thank you very much.
I'm just gonna fill up a kiddie pool full of M&Ms, and you can go nutsos.
You promised.
That's gonna cost a lot of money, Nikki.
Yeah.
We need to save money.
Yeah.
Yeah, so we can become a trio instead of a duo. Would you rather have a tub full of M&Ms?
It's a very hard question right now.
Child or M&Ms? If I get one child, I only have one. If I have a tub full of M&Ms, it's like having a tub full of children.
No. That doesn't even make sense.
They are all my children.
I'm gonna eat them.
Every single M&M. That's okay. Disturbing.
Well, you're the one that compared. Okay. Oh my gosh. We need to talk about the maze.
Okay.
I don't want to delve any deeper into this M&M conversation.
Okay, going into this maze, Willoughby's Resurrected, as Nikki said, is over by Sky Tower. It's over by Dead End, so it's also part of that area where Exile Hill is, and it's one of those mazes that's been around for a long time, and they've been updating it, and it's quite fun. Yeah. I mean, I don't mind it. It's one of those mazes that is actually really well themed, but I do feel like it was a little dark. I felt like they could have easily done a lot more lighting in there. Yeah. That could have really helped present it being this creepy, spooky house. It just felt very dark.
Yeah.
Not enough thematic lighting.
Yeah, I enjoyed it. So it was good.
Yeah, it's neither here nor there. Yeah. I mean, it wasn't bad, but it wasn't great.
Yeah.
A lot of the actors were pretty good in there. I just feel like we didn't get scared that often, but as we say a lot of the time, when we go through these mazes, timing is extremely important.
Yeah.
And sometimes you walk through, you'll get scared. Sometimes you walk through, you won't get scared. It just happens.
Yeah.
We just didn't have the opportunity to go through it twice, which kind of stinks.
Yeah.
But this maze is something that everyone should experience because there's lots of really cool technology in there, and there's a really nice balance between scares of animatronics and scares of humans, so real monsters. And there's quite a bit of people in there, it's really long.
It is a long maze.
It's extremely long. Nikki, I know that you had one issue with this, and I'd love for you to bring it up.
The ineffective scare tactic?
Yes, the ineffective scare tactic, which I think should never be replicated or changed ever in any scenario in life.
Okay, so, I mean, I'm sure if you've gone through mazes, you know that sometimes there's one actor that's used as the distraction, not really threatening, just, creepy actor, and then someone scares you from behind. But this particular distraction actress chose to distract me by, that motion where you want someone to pay attention to you, so you point at their eyeballs and then you point at your own eyeballs. So that's what she did to me, but she kept saying, eyes on me, and then doing that hand motion with her fingers. And so I wasn't distracted by her. I was, appalled that she used that in the maze. And then someone scared me behind, but it just pissed me off because I was mad at her for using that. So it didn't even scare me.
It's not effective.
It drew me out of the atmosphere of where I was because I was so very aware of the fact that she was trying to distract me very ineffectively.
It's like all this work goes into creating this environment and music and makeup and costumes and everything, and then you use this scare tactic?
Well, it just...
Or not even a scare tactic. You use this to try to scare to somebody?
It just bothered me so much because for all the haunts, all the, events we've ever gone to, that's never happened to me before.
We've never had somebody do that, ever.
It's like, at the moment she started doing that, I was like, okay, some loud noise is going to happen from behind me now because someone's going to try to scare me from behind. Like she's basically saying, I'm a distraction. It was like, she might as well have yelled that.
Just like her arms flailing over her head. I'm a distraction! Which is rather entertaining.
It just brought me out of the moment, and I didn't appreciate it.
Totally. And I was right behind you, and all I saw was her kind of getting close to you, and you just looking at her. And when the guy jumped out, you literally had no reaction. You just turned your head really slowly at him.
I turned and looked at you, and I was
then you looked at me, yeah.
That just happened.
You were shocked, and you couldn't wait to tell me as soon as we got out.
So, don't do that.
Yeah. But overall, entertaining maze, pretty fun. Not our number one, but still a pretty strong maze considered, where it is on the hill and stuff like that. So it's a good maze.
Yeah.
Just make sure you go check that one out, especially because it's been there for so long. It's kind of part of the history. So
yeah, and it's the encompassing theme with that whole area up there.
Kind of want to get a sense of what that entire story is too.
Yeah.
So that's really fun. But that pretty much wraps up Six Flags Fright Fest. As we were talking about before, I know I kind of want to wrap up with this, is that we were talking about Fright Fest being, it's not a separately ticketed event. You could have an annual pass and get in and buy the wristband, or people who are there all day can stay there. I personally think that the level of which they have brought themselves to this point can really warrant this being a separately ticketed event.
I think so.
And I also think by doing that will allow them to have a little bit more money to push into these mazes so that they don't just close the doors and reopen them. That they can every single year change the mazes that are returning every year. Yeah. So that they feel different. They feel new, even though they've been there. Yeah. I don't know where you stand.
I agree. I think it's really smart what they did with the wristbands, and even if they just charged more for the wristbands.
Yeah, maybe.
And people who don't have passes, they have to buy admission anyway. And I'm so torn because it's smart because people who have a pass might be more likely to go and spend the money on a wristband if they don't have to buy admission. And then people that want to go to the event so they have to buy a day's admission anyway, they might think, hey, I'll go a few hours early, go on rides, eat dinner there, buy a souvenir. So it's really a balancing act. I feel like it could work out in their favor, just having it flow into the nighttime event. Maybe they could jack up their prices on the wristbands a little bit if need be, but I'm not sure if it would be that beneficial to make it a separate ticketed event. I don't know if that would increase their revenue that much from it.
But also, not even just talking about revenue, it changes kind of the clientele that comes to the park on top of that. Because I could not tell you how many times I saw infants.
Yeah, there were a lot of kids.
Not even kids.
Yeah.
Infants.
Yeah.
Like 3 and below. And that's completely and utterly inappropriate.
Yeah.
Those aged kids should not be at these events, hands down. Just they shouldn't be like introduced to strobe lights and fog and scary monsters and stuff at that young of an age. And just that's just my opinion. And I don't know if you disagree or agree, but I just think that will change that kind of situation. But then you also have 5-year-olds, 6-year-olds, 7-year-olds running around, and it's very difficult to get through some of the scare zones and enjoy them when you have a child who's at your feet running around like through your legs essentially. That becomes an annoyance when you're going there to enjoy the event for what it is.
Yeah.
Especially us enjoying the artistry of what they're doing here and wanting to get scared. It takes you out of that moment when you have those little kids running around, running amok, causing issues, and then having families there, which is really odd. It's like then you have like 3-year-olds screaming because there's a monster in his face.
Yeah, I agree. But do you think those people, like, I don't know, are those people that just happened to stay after the park was, switched over? Or did they actively bring their children and toddlers to this event?
No, that's my point, is that there were people that were there all day long, and they just stayed for the event. If it was separately ticketed and they closed the park and then reopened it as Fright Fest,
you don't think they'd go?
That would not happen.
Yeah.
That would not happen. Because the only reason why an infant like that is there is because the mom is going to take care of the kid while that family goes on roller coasters all day long. And then they happen to stay at night, and now that mom's watching the child as they walk through scare zones.
Yeah.
Like I think that's inappropriate, and I think that by fixing that problem, it would fix that problem if they were to have it a separately ticketed event.
It might.
And then also just like a lot of those kids that just, I saw so many times kids harassing monsters.
It seemed to be a bigger problem at Six Flags than I've seen at other parks.
I feel really bad for those monsters because they work so hard to bring to life these ideas and concepts and these characters that they're thinking about year round.
Yeah.
And I see kids completely terrorizing the monsters that should be terrorizing us. Mm-hmm. Like pushing and shoving and touching, because there's people who are coming to this event who are not haunt regulars, people who don't go to haunts all the time, who don't really necessarily know the rules that are there, that are in place, where it's like, you're not supposed to touch these people, and you'll find kids like yanking on their clothes.
Yeah, we did see that
a lot,
yeah.
And that's something that's just a no-no. Like that is a big faux pas.
Yeah.
And parents not doing anything to deter their kids from doing that.
Yeah.
So, I mean, there's a lot of issues that come with being a park that stays open and just changes over.
Yeah.
There's a lot of benefits that come with that as well. I don't know.
I guess
it's a pros and cons situation where it's like, what would you rather prefer?
Yeah.
For the event as a whole? And I think in the future of the event, I would hope that they would make the decision to make it a separately ticketed event.
Yeah.
It doesn't have to be this year. It doesn't have to be the next year or the next. Just hopefully sometime in the future they decide to do that, because I think it would be really beneficial.
I do feel like it would change the vibe. Maybe it would make something like Club 6 Feet Under a little bit more enticing, if the clientele that came to the event was, geared towards that more.
Yeah, I mean, like when you go to, say, to any other haunt, there's usually an area where you want to go hang out that feels cool, that feels exclusive. There isn't a family in there.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, but like when you have a family hanging out in a supposed quote club, it takes the coolness away just a little bit. It takes the edge away a little bit. When you want to have something that seems like edgy and cool for, the 21 plus group, there shouldn't be a family in there.
Yeah.
So, I mean, that's just my opinion. People may disagree with me. I mean, that's how I feel about these types of events. And I would feel the same way about any other place if they were doing that.
You said the exact same thing about the wine tasting room at the Boysenberry Festival.
That should be a 21 plus.
Yeah. So so this is not like
there was kids parkouring off the freaking walls. In that room.
Yeah. So just to emphasize your point, this is something that you just feel. Yeah.
Yeah, when it comes to
those types
events
of
that cater to older audiences.
And I mean, these haunts do cater to, teens and up, so.
Yeah, no, that happens.
Yes, so I feel like there's nothing wrong with having, something like a club or an area that could be 21 and over, in a place like this.
Yeah, it's just the clientele that happens to come to that particular event seems to be a younger crowd.
A little younger, yeah.
A little younger. It skews younger.
Yeah.
Which is fine.
So
like you said, that's fine. That's not bad.
Maybe if they made it separately ticketed, though, it might raise the age range a little bit.
Yeah, which isn't a bad thing because then you could have a lot less issues for your monsters.
Mm-hmm.
Like having to defend themselves from little terrorizing children.
Yeah.
So, I mean, that's just my thought on it. I think it's kind of cool. And then also the fact that they're open the most days this year out of any other year that they've ever had the event.
Yeah.
Which is good for everybody because then a lot of people can go and experience this more. And it's great for them. They're bringing in more revenue. But they're also spreading themselves more thin the more that they extend their run.
Yeah.
I do think to a certain extent that you could probably make a little bit more money on a separately ticketed event than just wristbands. Also, the price difference between wristbands, if you think about it, it wasn't that much more to upgrade to a front of line, like a priority access wristband.
Yeah, that's the one thing. And that's probably why another reason why the front of the line was kind of long, because there wasn't a price deterrent,
Yeah, not a huge price deterrent like most parks, where like Universal is outrageously expensive, and then Knott's is rather reasonable for a front of line.
Well,
that's
it's got
unlimited.
more expensive.
It's
now.
got more expensive, but it's still extremely reasonable. And this is unbelievably reasonable. And I guess if you're looking at it from a fiscal standpoint, Six Flags is the best place to go to get the most bang for your buck.
Oh, definitely.
Hands down, no questions asked. There's no other place where you're going to get that amount of entertainment, that quality of entertainment for that price point.
You could buy a season pass and
you get in for free.
Yeah, and then front of the line for one night, and you probably still wouldn't spend as much as you would like at Halloween Horror Nights or Knott's.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So I mean, if you want on the cheaper end night but still enjoy all that stuff, go to Six Flags and spend the entire day there.
Yeah.
Because then you're going in for the roller coaster during the day, and like they say, the frights by night.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
But it's a topic that I think should be discussed over there for the future of the event. I think it'll be interesting to see where they go. Overall, I think Fright Fest this year was pretty successful in what they were trying to do. Yes, there were some missteps, of course, but overall, I think it was a pretty strong year. I think it was better than last year for sure.
I'd have to say so, yeah.
Yeah, so I think if they continue to go in this direction and really start to fix up some of the issues that they had this year, there's no doubt in my mind that this is going to be a legit contender with Knott's, Six Flags, Knott's and Universal and Queen Mary and every other Southern California haunt out there.
Yeah.
Right now, I think it's getting there. It's really freaking close.
It's getting there, and it's stepped up their game in the last few years. So.
Yeah, and it's always progressively have gotten better, and the sky's the limit for them right now because they have an amazing team behind them to really take them to where they need to go.
And they got a lot of good characters working there too.
Oh yeah, they have dedicated actors who are those monsters, and hold tight to them because they are what make this event unique.
Yeah,
are those monsters? I mean, like Peaches the Clown and a lot of other ones.
I think that and like going back, that was my favorite part. Just the characters and the actors and some of the monsters that we interacted with that night was just so much fun, and stuff we're still talking about, like the lady who wanted to cook me.
Take off your foot.
Fun. Yeah, she wanted to take my feet. It was just, it's just fun.
You said that very nonchalantly. She wanted to take my feet.
She didn't actually take my feet, so yeah, she wanted to take my feet.
That's true.
And it's fun stuff that you can talk about later, and I think that's a great part of Six Flags.
And they're just so, and it's different because, you do have characters like Queen Mary and Knott's where there are reoccurring characters that you see all the time. But at Knott's, there is the rule of them not supposed to be able to stop. For pictures or anything, and they don't really talk to you that
Halloween
often.
Horror Nights, they don't.
Halloween Horror Nights, they don't do any of that.
No.
And then at Queen Mary, they have these reoccurring characters, which are awesome, but for all intents and purposes, they're there for photo ops.
Yeah.
That's really what they're there for, and sometimes they'll talk to you. It just depends. And I feel like that's a plus for Six Flags, is that they have these characters that can be scary, who stop for photo ops, who talk to you, and completely mess with you, which is awesome.
Yeah.
I think it's a really awesome vibe to have for their event, and it makes them unique, it makes them stand out, and makes them something that everyone should go check out. And I implore people to go check out Fright Fest.
Yeah, it's a super fun night.
It's a very, very fun night. What's better than some monsters? You could have a beer, relax, do some roller coasters too.
Yeah.
All in one night. Thumbs up.
Mm-hmm.
So make sure you guys check out Six Flags and go to their website to see how you guys could purchase tickets to Magic Mountain and figure out how you can buy some wristbands so that you can enjoy a lot of the mazes and scare zones that we talked about today.
Yeah.
So make sure you do that. Then also, because it's a Halloween episode, we have to talk about some spooky stuff we've been doing recently, Nikki.
We've been doing spooky stuff?
Yes!
What?
Well, we finally got in the mail something that we bought at Midsummer Scream. They were out when we were there. They ran out of stock. We purchased one of those special Ouija boards. Ouija?
I don't know. I don't know.
Ouija. That one.
I don't know.
We bought one of those special Ouija boards that were there that we thought was really, really cool. So, like, we're getting in the Halloween spirit. We've been playing with the Ouija board, and some creepy stuff has been happening. So,
all the outlets in our kitchen stopped working.
That is actually true. All the outlets in the kitchen, all the outlets in the kitchen, and some in our room have gone out. But luckily, the refrigerator is intact.
It's the spirits. They don't want the food to spoil.
That is true. They are very helpful and considerate spirits.
Yeah.
But we did buy the Ouija board, and so we've been playing with that, and it's been pretty fun, just getting a little spooky and in the spirit. Just hoping that nothing happens, but because I'm Catholic and I do believe in that kind of stuff, but to a certain extent, it's a children's toy, so I'm sure nothing's going to happen.
Yeah.
But we've been getting in the spirit for Halloween, and hopefully we're going to help you get in the spirit for Halloween with all these spooky episodes that we're going to be coming up next. So we're going to be talking about Not Scary Farm, Universal Studios, Halloween Horror Nights, Orlando, and Hollywood.
Both coasts.
Both coasts, as well as Queen Mary's Dark Harbor, which is what we are going to be experiencing next week.
Yay, I'm so excited.
Very, very excited for that. So we have a lot going on. And then on top of that, we have another 5-star written review from our friend Joey McGurr from the Disney Hack Podcast. That was really awesome of him.
Yay, thank you.
Thank you very much. And I know that he enjoys our show. We love his show. Go check out the Disney Hack Podcast. Show filled with so many good tips and hints and hacks of how to spend the best day at any Disney park, which is really cool, especially the one we were on. Nudge, nudge, hint, hint.
We give lots of good tips for going to Disneyland for a day.
Exactly. So make sure you check that out. And thank you again, Joy, for leaving us a 5-star written review. And everybody else who is listening currently, if you love the show, make sure to just go over there to iTunes and give us a little love. 5-star written reviews on there would be awesome. It really helps us come up in the standings and helps everybody enjoy the show like you are right now.
Yeah.
So, Nikki, where can people find us all over social media?
You can find us at Theme Park Duo on Facebook, Instagram, Periscope, Twitter. I think that's it.
Yeah, pretty much. Instagram. Did you say Instagram?
I said Instagram.
Oh, and especially Instagram stories, because now you've kind of taken over that.
Oh, yeah.
It has become your thing.
I'm Instagram story person. So, yes, I'm going to post there a lot.
Yes.
It's going to be more quick snippets of our day. So you get to see more of what we're doing.
And if you want to see any of the photos that we took from Fright Fest, make sure you head over to themeparkduo.com and check out some of our blog posts and under the haunts area so that you can see a lot of these characters that we're talking about, as well as the mazes and some of the monsters and makeup that we saw over the night. And there's some pretty cool photos in there, so
yes, there
I
are.
implore you to go check that out. And then also, if you want to email us with any comments, questions, or concerns, things that you want us to improve about the show, things you love about the show, if you just want to say hello, just send us an email at themeparkduo@gmail.com. But also, Nikki, can you let people know how they can reach you?
You can reach me at Twitter at NikkiM_313.
And you could reach me on Twitter at Laker793. But most importantly, everybody always remember, there's always a great, big, beautiful tomorrow. See ya!